Welcome to a Lightboard session on moving to NSX-T. This particular Lightboard session is going to be about the complete internal firewall of NSX-T. I'm Paul Mancuso of the Technologist team within the Network and Security Business Unit. This session is going to discuss the securing of your data center with the full stack firewall built within NSX-T. It's distributed at every workload, requires no network changes, automates policy, and it helps eliminate blind spots. Our three key objectives are the discussion of this modern purpose-built data center firewall, its inherent operational simplicity in implementing its usage, and we're going to show you how you can reduce your security CapEx and operational expenditures. Let's get started. Let's start with the modern-day purpose-built data center firewall. We started with the introduction of a distributed firewall in NSX Data Center for vSphere. This gave us a unique capability. We could provide policy for your virtual machine workloads on a vSphere infrastructure with NSX-T, or with NSX Data Center for vSphere, by grouping those virtual machine workloads in a macro or micro segmentation perspective, write some rules, tag them appropriately, and the policy is applied. Now with NSX-T, we've extended this capability immensely. We're capable of providing that same simplicity, whether it's for a microservice architecture or bare metal or physical server workloads. With microservice architecture, it could be an upstream Kubernetes or it could be our very own Tanzu. With bare metal and physical servers, we have bare metal agents, or we have a gateway firewall that's fully purposed, embedded within the NSX-T infrastructure. All of this can be done without modification of the physical services in order to implement this policy. The distributed firewall now is capable of providing layer 4 through layer 7 application ID and stateful firewall services, granular user identity firewall capability, as well as fully qualified domain name and URL filtering. Now, with the access controls we've implemented in this enforcement layer, we've layered another enforcement set of capability on top of it. We've added advanced threat protection. Now, advanced threat protection is meant to detect the threats that are attempting to evade those access controls. Our advanced threat protection comes in a series of different modules embedded within NSX-T. We have a distributed IDS IPS service that's as simple as we've just described, and even easier actually, because it's just a one-button push-click deployment model, and we now have the ability to detect those threats within the environment to a very granular detail. We've added in network sandboxing and behavioral network traffic analysis. Now, all of those are part of our enforcement layers. We have, on top of it, residing a unified management. And that unified management has several key characteristics. First of all, we can provide policy service management of all of our workloads across sites, cloud, and the edge, utilizing NSX Manager, of course, and NSX-T Federation, so that we can take multiple NSX-T instances and manage them of a global perspective. We have NSX Intelligence built into that management services that's going to allow us to gather in the threat knowledge, gather in the workflow information so that we can provide an automated rule set for recommending what type of workflows need to be enforced and how policy can be inlaid. We have NSX Intelligence that also gathers in the threat information from all of those advanced threat protection services that we've been discussing, allowing us to correlate what types of threats are attempting to evade those access controls for an effective security campaign. Now, all of this is done without the necessity of those expensive physical appliances, thereby reducing your capital expenditures for no longer having to purchase those for your east-west services within the data center itself. You can reduce your time to deploy because this is an inherent security model built within the virtual infrastructure, thereby not requiring an expensive and dizzying array of complex weave of traffic management to trombone all of that traffic through those physical appliances, thereby making it much quicker to deploy your policy and troubleshooting your policy because it is a much simpler, less complex set manner of doing so. This now reduces your operating expenses. So now we've achieved all three of the objectives we set out to do. Well, I hope you found our Lightboard show illuminating. The three key objectives, once again, was the complete firewall, where we made microsegmentation easy to automate and secure all of your workloads No physical modification of the fabric was required. In fact, it's a simple one-click implementation with no modification of the physical fabric. And because we're doing so in an inherent fashion within the virtual infrastructure, eliminating the expense of those physical devices, smoothing out operational deployment, troubleshooting timeframes, and thus reducing your operational expenditures. Now, there are 3 key steps we'd like you to take. Take a look at our NSX-T with the hands-on labs. Take a look at our Tech Zone site for discussion of migration to NSX-T, and contact your VMware account team. I'm Paul Mancuso with the Technologist team. Thank you for listening.